Hey there, happy Wednesday there, it's me Victor here. Going to do a midweek recap of some of the plays which I see and some setups that are developing, and most to go over what trades I took and what I did right and wrong. Again, all these are really just for educational purpose only. Don't take nothing here as financial advice. This channel is just to catalog my journey en route of becoming a successful trader, okay? But I was mentioning on my recent scan, whoever you are, I don't know who you are, you really want to keep a database of stocks and what you see. The last couple videos I went over, it's pretty much EPs, episodic pivots. That's the main strategy which I trade, along with some low cap moments and runners, like with names like GV, which we'll discuss the big key differences in both, okay? But let's go over the ones that I took. The last time this past week, I was long ORGO, as I mentioned. And again, most of these stocks always, not all, but most of them always have a balance of some sort of the moving averages. They just work to a T. But you want them to trail on the daily, but sometimes it's better on the hourly, which I always imagine. And I missed it. The ideal one should have been 520 out of today's open. But this one's going to be a 5-star setup. I've seen this exact same pattern happen over and over again. Ideally, let this thing go base and let it go potentially for another range break towards 620. Again, this is a recent earnings winner from the past. As I mentioned, always look left. That's what I'm going to say in every video. Always look left. Okay, this has gone in the past. You always want to focus on runners that have gone in the past. Okay, because if former runners can run again, that's one thing I want you to point out. If you're just beginning, keep a database of the stocks that have ran in the past. If the stocks, like for instance, the stocks that ran today, the ones I go through them. Okay, if they fit my criteria, I keep them in a back watch list. That's what I do. I keep them in a back watch list, and I have price alerts, and I set scans every day to see if they're moving. This stock has numerous setups. This is really what you're going for right here. This is what I'm going for. Sideways, you have a run up, sideways, and a break. That's really what you want to watch, and that's the game plan for this one. Really for the rest of the week. Let it do its thing, let it base. And ideally we have a range break over 620 and big picture over 670. If not, big deal. Again, this game's all playing the odds, playing the probabilities. Not every setup is going to work, and your job as a trader is to find that one setup or two, and you do it over and over again. It's not going to work all the time, and as I mentioned, whenever we have current market conditions, which we're in right now, setups are going to fail quite a bit because we're not in a market which is favorable on the long side. As I always say, you want really the moving averages to be in an uptrend like you have here. Now we're in a downtrend, so that does not mean that the setups are not. That doesn't mean that there is no setups. It is sometimes the setups are not going to work, and I'll go over an example of that. Like on which one was it? Was it Mass? Yeah, I was long Mass. Like for instance, this is this is an EP as well. I mean, I got somebody asking me what make this an EP in your opinion. Okay, I always want to put things in perspective of a lot of things. Number one, the long-term chart. Okay, it is beaten down. So when you have earnings, and again, always pay attention to volume. Volume trumps all. And the fact that the numbers were okay, but the chart is horrible. And I don't believe it went to the high of 85. I think they have reverse splits, very likely. But the reason why I was interested in this is because, number one, let's look at the intraday chart. Intraday chart always tells a sign. It was pretty much basing. I got long out of the open range right here on the 5-minute, and it stopped me out as I took a low of day. Again, low of days always stop. And again, it offered a dip and rip setup right there. And this is the key difference between trading these small cap runners compared to one that I got long today, which I'll talk about in a minute, on ASTS. They're just completely different. The same type of pattern, but they move just different. And I'll go over the reasons why I think, I'll go over the reasons why this one is going to work better in my opinion. But on Mass, I pretty much got stopped out, but then again, I got long as a reclaimed VWAP at 350. Sign of strength, and I used low of day, I stop again. And sometimes it's okay to rebuy if you set up this. If you get stopped out, here's one thing I wanted to tell you. You can always get back in. Okay, again, risk management is key in your trading. Whenever you're just getting started, your goal is longevity. Don't try to be right. Don't try to be right. It's the best traders can take the best losses. Okay, learn to cut losses quickly. Enjoy being wrong in a sense. But it's not really wrong. It's just playing the odds. And whenever this base overview up, I took a setup, and it kind of worked out in a way. But I sold not too well. I got $4 because it wasn't really. It's a bad sell, in my opinion. In hindsight, yeah, it's a good sell. And in hindsight, I should have sold into this parabolic. Well, not the run up right here, but it is. I kind of expected this to have more continuation, considering the float in the volume, but it didn't. So, I mean, the reason why I consider this an EP in a way is it's a surprise to the market. The volume's there, has news, earnings, but it didn't work out. Now, I'm going to still keep this on my back watch list. Again, former run is going to run again. I'm just going to watch it for the rest of the week, because who knows? This can easily go again over $4, and if not, cool, whatever. But yeah, that one was that one. ASTS is the one I got today. This one as well has earnings. The best time to buy it was opening range break, $31. That's 5-star setup. And I think, I'm not sure what my average is. I can look. Give me 1 second. What is it here? I don't know. I think it's like 30-something dollars. 31.88. 31.88. Yeah. 31.88. But the reason on this one, again, this one is a former runner. The float interest is extremely high, as you can see here. There is story with this. Again, with these stocks, you want legs, you want a story, okay? And there's, I believe, a buy rating. Again, I'm not pumping the stock. I'm just showing you the reasons I got. You always want to understand the reasons you get long stock, okay? And again, look at the daily chart. The right time to buy it was, again, ideally off this low on the, let's go to the daily chart. The best time to buy it was really last week, well, last Friday in a sense, when it broke off this moving averages. But it's fine, I got it off there, and we'll see. It closed really strong, and we got out of this nice, again, right there's a setup as well. We got out of this nice range break, as you can see right there. So that's really why it's a freaking good setup in my opinion. And again, always look left. This has ran in the past. Okay, I talked about this on a couple videos back, but I love this. I love this. The volume's there, the setup is there, and I took it. Ideally, we have a gap up. I trailed the 10-day. If it gaps down, so what? I want to use the previous close as my stop. Just raise my stop, and we'll see what happens on this one. But yeah, ASTS for sure. ADR is roughly 13%. Good ADR on that one. Gorilla was one I regret. I mentioned this, I think, on last Sunday scan or one of the videos. I was pretty much saying that I missed the entry right there. 5-star setup, and again, you would have been stopped out right there anyways because it closed within today. But again, same setup right there. The range break. It's the exact same setup. Again, they happen over and over again. Stocks move in stairs. But 5-star all the way. Congrats to anyone who was long this one. Very, very good setup. Good setup. Ideally, trail 10-day. But again, the exact same setup. Again, they move in stairs. Okay, move in stairs. Focus on stocks that bounce off the 10 and 20, and just whether it be on the hourly, whether it be on the daily, just keep a database of those, and it's pretty much the same exact stuff. PRCH is one that I mentioned last week as well. This one is setting up to a T. As I mentioned, stocks move in stairs. As I mentioned, you want this to consolidate as it's doing right now. Look how it retraced and reclaimed the 10 and 20. Ideally, it did hit high day at 3:30, but it didn't break convincingly. So tomorrow, for the week ahead, for this week or the week ahead, ideally we're gonna have a nice range break over 750. Earnings mover, earnings winner. Again, long-term chart, always look left. It's breaking out of this nice cup and handle, but pretty much it's the exact same setup as you see here. You know how it moves in stairs, as I mentioned. So it's just simple as that. Ideally over 730, If it happens again, I'm not going to buy this pre-market if that does happen. I want it to be out of the open. Whether it be the first 5 minute or the first, maybe the first 5 minute, or even the 10. As long as it's not up more than the ATR, then I'll get on a dip or something. Same thing will go to the exact same setup as PRCH. Again, exact same setup. Run up sideways. Ideally, the range break over 377. More sideways the better on this one. Again, long-term chart, always look left. Recent runner, as you can see here from the past. So it's a freaking on the watch list for sure. And always pay attention to volume. The volume is not ideal compared to the prior, but the setup is there nevertheless. So that's going to be a watch on that one over 730. Another one I talked about last week was Root. The short interest is extremely high on this one. I did not get long this, but it's a 5-star range break. The volume is really thin, only 1 million, so it's kind of illiquid in a way, so you can't really trade that much size. But the pattern is there nevertheless. Okay. Again, sideways. You have surfing and a range break. So congrats to whoever did get long that one. Who knows how high this can go? The short interest is extremely high, and again, the volume is really thin. So perhaps there's some shorts trapped in there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this go 150 plus, honestly. 130 would be the base, honestly. But yeah, higher the better on this one. Another one I'm just going to talk about, which one? I went over that one. ABBC, the different type of setup. One more I'm watching is, let me see, where is it at? I had it on here. Let me see. Acon is a different type of setup. This is more of a liquidity trap potential play. First off, the chart, this is a different type of setup compared to EP. Long-term chart is shit. But I love how, number one, look at the volume. Okay, this past week, on this past Monday, roughly 90 million, okay? And just look how it's basing. Look how it's forming a setup. And eventually it's going to break, whether it be up or down. And it's really, I'd call it a liquidity trap because you have an idea, in a sense, in my mind, that there are shorts that are trapped in this. And that is going to create buying pressure whenever they're forced to cover, eventually. If not, cool. But it did try to break over 830, but it failed today. It's stuffed. But it's kind of good. I like it when it fails. So it's making them, I don't know. I always think in terms of the opposite side. Like as a short, like I wouldn't want to be short this because you always want to think in terms of downside. Like what's your reward to make? Yeah, I guess it comes back to $3. Cool. But if this breaks over that range, this can go to, who knows, infinite, you know? 80 hours is roughly 31%. So I just think in terms of that. Again, I could be completely wrong. I really don't care, so I'm playing the odds. But I don't know. I'm watching it. It's price alerts. It's pretty much making like a flag type of setup. But if this does base in a way, if it bases over $6 in a range of 8 to 6, going towards Friday, I wouldn't be surprised to see this have a range break of some sort on that one. CDXE was today's earnings EP. I missed it. Congrats to those who did watch this. This is a 5-star setup. It has numerous past reactions to earnings, as you can see here. Beautiful. It has continuation there. Along with look at the left. I always say look left. This has gone supernova in the past. I'm not sure what the news was that lets us go this high, but it's a recent runner, so I'm going to watch it for sure. Same thing back here, same exact thing. I'm not sure what caused this to run back then. I'm not sure. I wasn't really on it back then. When was that? It was last year. I wasn't really on it back then. But it moves in stairs, so I'm watching this one for sure. Again, sometimes these offer numerous setups, so over the high day, pretty much, I'm going to watch for tomorrow for continuation, if that does happen, on Friday on that one. GV is today's really low cap runner. Again, this one, as I mentioned, these trade very differently than stocks like these trade differently, obviously. And with these small caps, they're a lot easier, in my opinion, to trade in the afternoon because you have a whole you get to see the whole day develop. And really, I look at these stocks going into power hour, the ones that are holding the range, the ones that are in a sense consolidating like you're seeing right now. You know, how it spiked, it came in a basis, and pretty much you want to get, I missed this on hindsight. On hindsight, I would have gotten long, but again, you never know, it's in the moves. But again, it's pretty much the exact same ABCD type pattern. It's like ABCD setup, you know, you have the spike in the morning, you have the pullback, you know, even like there's a spike, but you have a pullback in a sense, and then you have the spike, you have the pullback, and this is where you want to risk at. And you want to get long really after it breaks the high day right there, risking right there. But I missed it. This is a classic afternoon breakout on an intraday chart. And who knows how high this can go. They had news, I believe, some funding of $1 billion. I have no idea. With these small cap runners, most of them are just pumps. Most of them just move off momentum. The ADR on this is roughly 20%. So who knows how high this can go. Again, long-term chart, I'm not sure what it is. Let's look at that. Long-term chart is shit, as you can see here. But that does not mean that it can go higher. If it gaps down, then cool. But if it gaps up, I would not be surprised to see this go. Who knows? We're not really in a crazy market right now. We're kind of like in a defensive market right now, which is fine. Just lower your risk and lower your size in a sense. But it's really, it remains when I'm watching CDXC over that range break. Acon for sure, the liquidity trap. RGL as well, more sideways over 670. PRCH, and go to the exact same setups, open range highs. And that's pretty much it. And I guess that's pretty much it. That's really what I all wanted to go over, okay? But again, focus on your plays, focus on your setups. If you're new to trading, just understand that it's going to take time to learn this. Again, I'm not a master. I'm not claiming to be a master. I'm not a millionaire by any means. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just someone who's obsessed with this, and I want to help you in some way. And the best thing to do, from my opinion, if you're just getting started, okay, be like a sponge. Focus on the biggest percent gainers, and focus on stocks that have ran in the past, and keep a database of those, and just go back and look at the charts. I promise you, most of them offer numerous setups, and most of them, over time, you're going to see the exact same stuff happening over and over and over again. It's just identifying what works best for you. What I do is not going to work for you, and vice versa. That is what makes this game unique, okay? But I specialize on setups like PRCH, like GoTo, like ASTS. That's what I specialize in setups, because they're just so predictable compared to like GV, you know. Because with these, you know where they're going to go. Most of these are shit companies, these small caps. But with something like ASTS and something like Root, something like PRCH, something like GoTo, there's a reason for them to go up. And I just want you to understand that whatever stock you're trading, you want fuel. You want a reason for something to go up. Otherwise, you're just trading randomness. You want a reason why a stock can go up, okay? But other than that, I wish you the best of the week, and I will see you next Sunday scan.